My name is Edmond Chifianko. I'm the Director General of the National Communications Authority. So the NCA is the electronic communications regulator for the Republic of Ghana. We are the centralized spectrum manager. We also manage numbering resources. We license communication services spanning telecom, broadcasting, aeronautical, maritime radio, internet services. We are also responsible for competition within the sector and consumer protection. So the NCA was established in 1996 in the midst of the liberalization of the communication sector. Prior to the establishment of the NCA, Ghana had a telephony penetration of under 1%. But when the sector was liberalized, competition was introduced, and the NCA was established to regulate the sector. We saw growth in investment and a phenomenal expansion of access lines. As we speak, the telephony penetration exceeds 100%, meaning that we have more telephone connections than the entire population of the country. Internet penetration is approaching 80%, indicating that there's been phenomenal growth of high-speed internet connectivity within the country. And these permeate throughout the society. All the different sectors of the economy depend on communications, banking, finance, education, agriculture. All of them are leveraging various communication solutions to be able to deliver on their own specific sector mandates. So over the last 30 years, the NCA, by ensuring that we put in place appropriate mechanisms and resources and regulatory instruments to facilitate investment, we have been able to expand communication. Right now, coverage of the population for 2G, 3G, and 4G services is around 99% of the population. And this is phenomenal success for the last 30 years. So as a regulator, one of the initiatives that we did in recent times, we had COVID not too long ago, and there was a heavy reliance on remote, communication solutions to facilitate remote working. The NCA took a step then because people in the remote areas were a bit disadvantaged. We gave approval for spectrum that hitherto was technology specific to be technology neutral, to enable the implementation of UMTS 900 in remote areas, so that people in some of those locations could be able to access, especially those in school, could be able to access educational materials online. That was one thing that we did that had immediate impact in a lot of the communities. There's been a school connectivity project. About 3 years ago, we gave approval for acquisition of spectrum, but along with that, we also required the operator to connect about 100 schools in deprived locations. So they provided a set of computers and free internet connectivity for those 100 schools. This was a decision the regulator took by making it a condition of the approval that we gave for that transaction, and it had an immediate impact. On the consumer front, we have intensified education on a number of things so that consumers are better informed, especially on tariff verification. We verify that the billing is accurate, especially for special bundles. There are people who don't always get to read the terms and conditions, etc. But the NCA enforces the terms and conditions, ensuring that there are no hidden clauses and that a consumer is not shortchanged. We also required that bundles should not expire. At least the major operators all implement that, so that people are not compelled to, have to recharge even when they haven't used the bundles that they bought. So for every operator, they would have bundles that do not expire, which gives consumers a bit more flexibility. Okay, so we are very grateful for the iPRIS program because it offered a structured way of thinking through some of the tasks that we have as a regulator. And I think for each cycle, the team has taken something that is relevant, and that's also a good thing, that you allow the regulatory authorities to propose the different projects, and the program then helps with a structured way of thinking through the entire problem and developing innovative ways of addressing them. And I think that the peer learning that this comes along with, where they engage their colleagues from other regulators, also identifying what problems other people are, seeking to resolve, and how they have gone about it, have all built up the capacity of our staff, especially in structured, processing of some of the issues that we are dealing with. And there's been direct impact because they've also followed through with implementation. And they've been very passionate, seeking approval for some of the implementation measures. So this is a very, very good program we are hoping would be sustained for a long time. And each time we have sent different people because we see the value that it adds to the capacity of our staff. And so the longer the program stays, the more people we can support in developing. So this is a program that we want to appreciate all the sponsors and all the people behind the scenes who develop the program and continue to run it. One initiative that we implemented last year that was developed through the iPRIS program was managing unintended roaming along the Ghana-Togo border. These two countries are very close, and especially for Aplao, it shares a border with the capital of Togo. And in fact, traditionally, the two people are the same people. We are just separated because of colonial borders that were created. But because there are two different national administrations, our operators are also different. We have an agreement, a frequency management agreement between the two countries, which brings restrictions in terms of how far a signal can travel in each other's country. Obviously, you can't stop the signal. So, and how mobile phones work, the signal the device will pick the signal that has the strongest signal strength. So we had a number of our people complain that sometimes, they see high charges because before they notice, they are roaming on the neighboring country's network without them knowing, and they've made the call only to see that it cost them a lot more. We've implemented an international ECOWAS roaming agreement to bring down the tariffs, but it's still not the same. So what we've done working through the iPRIS program is to design a public education program that would help these people who live along the border find a way to manually select the national network so that the unintended roaming will not happen. And after the program was designed, the team followed through, visited several communities along the border to educate them. They visited churches, mosques, schools, officers, especially those of the immigration and customs officers, and educated them on how they could curb or mitigate this unintended roaming. And it was a phenomenal success. Post that project, we are taking it a step further. We've created a multimedia unit that would develop multimedia content. And one of the things they are going to do is to create a step-by-step process, videos of step-by-step in various local languages. The border is a long one from south to north, and there are different local languages that are spoken along the border. So what we are doing is to create step-by-step videos that will also have local language voiceovers that will enable those people to be able to follow through, because we couldn't meet everybody on the exercise that we embarked on. But we think that the video would be something that will live with the people. People can share with their colleagues and guide them. And especially putting them in a local language will expand the reach so that many more people will be covered by the project. So um, the President of the Republic is very sensitive um, to issues related to gender empowerment. So for the first time, our sector, the different regulatory institutions, the NCA is chaired by a woman. This is the first time we've had a woman board chair. The Data Protection Commission is chaired by a woman. The National IT Agency is chaired by a woman. The Ghana Domain Name Registry is chaired by a woman. And then, yeah, the Ghana Post is chaired by a woman and has a woman CEO. So in the sector, the president has appointed female board chairs, and they're very competent people, very experienced, who have played several roles in the sector. And this is a testament that at the very highest level, there is a deliberate effort to ensure that there is gender participation in the sector. At the NCA, the staff ratio, the male to female ratio, is pretty. We have about over 40% women across the organization, and yeah, almost 40% also of senior management is also comprising of women. So we have a very good balance, and we are seeking to grow the numbers. All the divisions, there are even a few divisions that have more women than men. So that is something that we are deliberate about. We also actively support a Girls in ICT project. Every year we sponsor some of the activities, and we host about 100 girls every year, motivational sessions, and also show them around our facilities, inspiring them to take up programs in science, technology, and mathematics. We also have been encouraging AI and robotics education. And we've seen in some of the competitions that fairly balanced boys and girls participation in the contests. In May, we will be supporting a Train the Trainers program in collaboration with the ITU here at the NCA Tower. And also, we'll be supporting a national robotics contest. And what we've seen in the schools is the girls are very actively involved in this, which is inspiring and which is very encouraging. In fact, the NCA Act requires that on the board of the NCA, that there's a particular line that requires that a woman be involved in the constitution of the board. So these are all provisions within the sector that encourage gender empowerment in the communication sector. Um, so the NCA is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year. We launched the anniversary last month. We have a series of activities lined up for the year. Maybe one that affects a bit more of the global audience. We'll be hosting the African Telecom Union for a World Telecom Standardization Assembly preparatory meeting in April. We want Africa to be part of the celebration. So hopefully some of our colleagues will join us for that purpose. We are working on a book that will document 30 years of communications regulation in Ghana. We hope that we'll share our story with the rest of the world. We are producing documentaries on the development of the various sectors of the communication industry, and we are hoping to document progress over the period. Our theme is actually reflects on building an inclusive digital future. And we are hoping to expand coverage so that nobody, no hamlet, no person would be excluded from access to high quality communication services. So we are hoping to, in the next 5 years, to ensure that in the next 4 years, by 2030, that there is coverage everywhere. There is 5G explosion nationwide. That will also try to bridge the usage gap, because people have coverage but are not using it as they should. So education and also local content applications that will enhance the usage, so that people in rural areas, people who speak local languages, can relate to the use of technology for the different things that they do. And we are hoping that we will anchor progress in all the sectors: health, education, agriculture, especially with 5G deployment, because the high speed and the low latency of 5G will enable a lot more applications, IoT, and other services that would, revolutionize many other industries and take us closer to meeting the Sustainable Development Goals, as we have all signed up to.